Shalom Dammit! This is Rabbi Sol Solomon with a Rabbinical Reflection for the week of February 2nd, 2014. This may come as a shock to some of you, but I am not a believer. Oh yes, I am a believer in God, in the Torah, in chicken soup when you're sick, but I am not a Justin Bieber believer. I don't listen to his music, since I'm more of a Moshe Kusevitsky fan, and his exploits do not interest me. If Justin Bieber gets a tattoo, or stoops a model, or posts a selfie from the hood of his Lambo, more power to him for living the high life. When I was 19 years old, I was in yeshiva studying Talmud. I was suffering through clarinet lessons. I was in bed sleeping by 10 p.m. because I didn't have a girlfriend. If I had $20 million at that age, would I have done things differently? You're damn right I would have. My God, I would have bought the Strites Matzah factory and had chocolate-covered matzah every day of the year. I'd have tricked out my Volvo with curtains and a practice bima. I'd have bribed ushers for backstage passes to every Yafa Yarkoni concert in the tri-state area. Would I have gotten tattoos? No, that's a religious no-no. Plus, how would I really feel about a tramp stamp of Marvin Hamlish when I was 50? But with that kind of money, sure, I might get a little mashigah. And having young girls clawing at me and screaming, and not screaming rape, of course that would go to my head, and I would sample the pleasures of the flesh and the pleasures of the plesh. I do not begrudge Justin Bieber any of these sybaritic activities that he has earned by making music that pushes teenage girls right past puberty into menopause. However, this past week, little Justin crossed the line. He was arrested in Miami Beach for DUI, drag racing, driving without a license, and mouthing off to cops. When he was yanked bleary-eyed from his yellow Lamborghini, he said, "Why do you have to search me? What is this about?" And 2 seconds later, he told the police, "Oh, by the way, I'm high, I've been drinking, and I'm on a couple of prescription medications." Somewhere, a prosecuting attorney is on his knees in shul saying, "Thank you, God, sometimes you send them to us gift-wrapped." Now, much as I hate giving anyone who sings songs with titles like Beauty and a Beat, Baby, and Eeny Meeny the benefit of a doubt, if Justin Bieber wasn't impaired that night, then this is just another case of the media looking to crash the monster it created. Yes, Bieber was a putz for mouthing off at the cops. If he'd been poor and black, he'd still be searching for his teeth on the sidewalk. But if he wasn't drunk or high, and was just driving a little too fast, give the guy a ticket, get his autograph for your kids, and be done with it. However, if Justin Bieber was driving under even a mild chemically induced goofiness, then throw the book at him, not because he's famous, but because he's a danger to others. In one of my early rabbinical reflections, I took some heat for kicking Ryan Dunn's corpse before it was even cold. Who was Ryan Dunn? He was one of the jackass crew on TV. Men who would do crazy, stupid, dangerous things to each other for poops and giggles. These were consenting friends under controlled circumstances. Who am I to say, what the hell is wrong with you? Especially when they're funny. But nobody was laughing when Ryan Dunn poured himself into his Porsche and zoomed into a tree. Not only he died, but the guy in the passenger seat died too. As Roger Ebert tweeted at the time, "Friends don't let jackasses drive drunk." I have no sympathy for Dunn or Paul Walker or Justin Bieber if he put himself in the same situation. When I'm tootling down the highway in my 1996 Ford Fiesta, I want to know that every other person on the road is being as neurotically careful as I am. At 50 miles per hour, a car is just a gun with wheels, pointed in the wrong direction, and you've committed suicide and or murder and or skyrocketing insurance premiums. Figuratively speaking, Many have said that Justin Bieber is on a crash course, speeding out of control towards a Lohan-esque junk heap. I wish him no harm, so long as he does harm to no others. Remember, this is the boy who said that if Anne Frank were still alive, she would be a believer, meaning, in his obnoxious, self-absorbed way, that she'd be a typical teenage girl with posters on the wall, bubblegum music on her iPod, and, presumably, 200 stuffed animals on her bed. Of course, this is a ridiculous statement. First of all, if Anne Frank were truly alive today, she'd be kicking and pounding at the lid of her coffin. Also, she'd be 85 years old, which means her musical tastes would have settled somewhere between Glenn Miller and Chubby Checker. The only posters on her wall would be a reminder for her medications and a calendar from the nearest Jewish funeral home. As far as liking Justin Bieber's music, for gosh sake, this woman lost her mother and her sister in the Holocaust and coughed herself to death in a concentration camp at age 15. Didn't she suffer enough? People who hate Justin Bieber just for being Justin Bieber are saying he should be deported. We should send him back to Canada. Why? So he can spend all his millions across the border and let Canadian strippers, casinos, and car dealers reap the benefits? I say, give the teeny botcher the benefit of a doubt. Let him stay. Unless they prove he was drunk or stoned in that car. If he was, handcuff him and put him in the first trolley heading to Quebec. Oh, and just for fun, make David Cassidy drive. This has been a Rabbinical Reflection from Rabbi Sol Solomon, Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck, New York.